So this week saw the gradual improvement of Eskom's power generation fleet. 6 coal-fired power stations achieved the energy availability factor of 70%. This was last achieved on the 8th of May in 2022. 3 power stations, Camden, Duvha and Matla, have been on a sustained upward trend as a result of a reduction of plant breakdowns. Lethabo, Matimba and Medupi plants have also been experiencing continued good performance and remain amongst Eskom's 3 best performing stations. Lethabo was able to sustain performance after a quick recovery following a wet coal incident last week due to flooding after excessive rain. Thomas Conradie joins me now. He's Eskom's acting group executive for generation. Mr. Conradie, a very good morning to you. Thanks indeed for your time. So marked improvements were seen to Eskom's power generation fleet. That's, of course, some good news. How did we get here after so much suffering?
Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. Certainly, we have seen some improvement also, as you've indicated, also at the 3 power stations, Camden, Duvha and Matla. Also have seen some sustained improved performance at our power stations that are performing well in terms of Matimba, Lethabo and Medupi power station. We expect that the EAF must start to improve as we also bring back units from plant maintenance. Also, as we get to the position of addressing some of our known problems on the plant. But I must also caution that we know that we are still very much at risk in terms of that there's still in the order of 6,000 megawatts that are at risk. And as we run currently, we know that there are inherent unreliability in our fleet. Yeah. So we are thankful for the fact that we could manage to get the units perform better. And we have seen at Camden running all 8 units. That was very good when Unit 2 returned from an outage. And similar on Duvha, where we've run all 5 after returning Unit 4 last week.
Let's look at the sustainability level. I mean, this is certainly an upward trend, but how sustainable is it? And I mean, if we look towards, a winter period that we would go towards, how sustainable is this, this good news that we're hearing from you now?
So as I've indicated, it will be a bit up and down also, as we know that we still got reliability problems at a number of our plants. But certainly we expect as we approach also winter to see an improvement in total energy availability factor. Yet we also know that we still need to perform a lot of plant maintenance work before the winter. We need to, in April, increase our our plant maintenance up to 5,100 megawatts in order to address all the plant maintenance opportunities. And that in itself erode again the EAF. But obviously, as we approach the winter, we want to further reduce our total unavailability in order to improve the energy availability factor.
With the trend that we see currently, what impact will that have on the stages of load shedding? You're likely to implement lower stages if this is at least sustainable to a certain level?
As we've indicated before, we see a tough year ahead, also a tough winter in terms of load shedding, given the fact that we've got inherent shortage of capacity. And we cannot overstress the importance that we need to get additional capacity also online. So we also know that the demand for electricity will greatly increase as we approach the winter months, which is not uncommon. And therefore, we foresee that we will still have significant load shedding moving into the winter months. We, from Eskom's side, will do our utmost to limit that amount of load shedding. But no, it's very difficult to really forecast also, given the levels of unpredictability that we still have and unreliability within our plant.
What solutions are there to the wet coal issues? You would have heard there in my introduction, the case reported at Lethabo. That was the recent challenge regarding wet coal due to, I understand, flooding that had taken place due to heavy rains.
Yeah, one must do appreciate also that what we've experienced at the Lethabo power station was fairly extreme in the last about 2 weeks back when we've experienced that incident. Also, as we know that the Vaal River was extremely high at that stage. The main is right on the border of the Vaal River, and we've had situation where the mine itself was at risk of being flooded by the high Vaal River. But that said, what we do at power stations, and it's throughout the fleet, is where we keep a live stockpile of a more coarser product available, that when the wet weather come, that we've got a coarser product that we can feed into the plant, which can better handle the wetness. The prolonged rain that we have seen throughout Mpumalanga and Gauteng and the Northern Free State running up to this specific incident has caused us to have also depleted those live stockpiles, and then the strategic piles where there's lots of coal then was quite severely impacted by the heavy rains. So we're continuing in managing also our wet coal readiness by also having strategic and live piles available that can actually deal with the wetter product.
Yeah, I'm sure, Mr. Conradie, you can appreciate the frustration of South Africans. It's been going on for quite a while now, the frustration over a lack of sustainable supply of electricity into our homes. And I can see a lot of commentary about why this sudden huge improvement, where I'm not specifically speaking about the EFF march, which is to take place on Monday, but there's certainly commentary in the corridors from ordinary South Africans about why this change now, because obviously South Africans are becoming fed up with the inconsistent supply of electricity and are now taking to the streets over that. And now you have this sudden improvement, a gradual improvement of Eskom's power generation fleet. I'd like your comment to that.
So, ma'am, let me state also to say that it's not uncommon to see on a long weekend, and we know that this weekend that we are in, a lot of people in the country have in fact made it a long weekend, that we see significant drop also in demand. And it's not uncommon this week also, combined with what I've indicated, some improvement that we've seen on plants. I need to stress that it is a short-term improvement, and it's not to say that it will be sustainable, as we see with the unreliability that we still experience. So yes, we at all times look at opportunity to reduce the stages of load shedding. We know the impact that that's got on the country and its people is immense, and therefore if we get opportunities where we can reduce load shedding, like we've announced also yesterday afternoon, and what we're currently experiencing, we're doing that. And that is what we want to continue doing also, is to closely monitor the supply and demand, that we can at all where possible reduce the stages of load shedding.
So you can't give any guarantees at this point about how long these improvements will be sustained, and we could possibly move to higher stages of load shedding should you find that this is unsustainable at any given time.
That's correct, ma'am. We're talking here about 6 stations out of a fleet of 15. So yes, there's still a lot of work to be done. We're still doing a lot of maintenance. As we stand, we're doing 4,167 megawatts of plant maintenance. So we still need to do a lot of work in terms of the fleet in totality. And hence we will continue working towards that also, to firstly improve the inherent unreliability that we're currently experiencing on a large part of the fleet. But we can give no guarantees and certainty in terms of a prolonged period of lower load shedding.
Thomas Conradie, who is the acting group executive at Eskom for Generation, thank you very much for joining us here on The Agenda. Appreciate